Alrighty, what is up guys? Aldo here. Wanted to give you an update on the markets. There is a very, very rare, never before seen bearish sign on Ethereum right now. We'll talk about that in just a second. But before, if you guys enjoy the content, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, because we get into some amazing things on this channel. We really do a lot of good stuff here. And the latest in the Aldo Empire VIP Discord, I've been taking a lot of, kept doubling the shorts here. Took a Bitcoin long yesterday. First trade stopped out in the wild. We don't win every single trade, contrary to what some people may think. You'd be a billionaire pretty quickly if that was the case, but we do very well in here. And then added more to this swing, the short, which is doing really, really well right now. Also got this Bitcoin short that kind of became a swing short in for a while now. So yeah, that's kind of that. And then Crypto Bull Zone's had some good stuff. We got some other analysts in here as well. So if you guys are interested, link down below. We're definitely not going to keep the prices this low forever. So check it out. Let's get into the analysis. Let me show you the first thing with this, the title of this video is going to talk about. And right here on regular candles on Ethereum, we are printing a blood diamond on the monthly. And this coincides a lot with the potential of fulfilling this kind of Wyckoff accumulation where first drop, second drop, and then phase C right here is where you make your third drop. You potentially could go even, we can move this over a little bit where phase C would be, you potentially could go even a little bit, deeper here, potentially even making a lower low. I'm kind of not thinking that would happen, but in the Wyckoff accumulation, it can. The third drop down will likely happen sometime towards the end of this year, potentially into next year. It's just, it depends how long this takes to kind of play out. If it's a big kind of drop down, it could be quicker. We could see it in a month or two. If it's a longer, more longer thing, we could see it early next year, maybe January, February, maybe even pre-halvening, March. I'm kind of not seeing it happen post-halvening, but that would really break the kind of 4-year cycle at that point. So I don't think that'll happen, but obviously anything could happen. So most likely you're going to see a pretty big kind of drop down with ETH. Similar, I'd say, down to 1200s, 30 something percent down. Kind of potentially similar to, this obviously dropped down. That was 60%, not counting the pandemic. I think as time goes on, it gets not as bad. The drops don't get as bad theoretically. So I think somewhere between 1200 and then maybe kind of where you get into, really, really like, bad recession, maybe, those slightly lower lows potentially is what I'm seeing at the moment. So that's what we're looking at kind of on Ethereum, the main bearish thing. I'll kind of do a little bit more of the short-term analysis on ETH difference in the video. Normally we start with Bitcoin, but we'll do a little bit of ETH today since I started with it. And then money flow coming out here. So a lot of things are indicative of potentially coming down farther, especially money flow coming deeper on the 2-day. Daily as well. We're not seeing money flow come up. We're seeing an anchor wave, but we're not seeing money flow come up just yet. Let me go to a chart that's a bit more marked up here. And what we can look at on is 20-minute VWAP coming down, and you're losing. You're losing this area. This is your volume area that you bounced around with for a couple days here. Losing that area. You broke down kind of a technical target at 630. You got down below that. Now you're jumping up a little bit. So we'll talk about that in a second. Jumping up, VWAP coming down, money flow coming out in the 12-hour, not looking too good there. Most of these things are indicative of to continue down more. Money flow still down in the 6-hour. Maybe that could move up. We could get a bull div potentially bringing us up. As of now, not looking too good. 4-hour, not looking too good with the money flow either. But potentially where you have money flow kind of generally starting to come up here on the 2-hour, maybe you could get some bullish div that gives you some relief. But until then, the bias right now overall in the macro, very bearish. We could look at this 619, kind of a jump off of 619. I don't know if that's, did we hit a fib level or something? Let's just see here. Potentially hit something. Maybe, yeah, kind of that fib level. You just hit that. But, we're getting close to that spiral line. I feel like this could just really move over. You do have the snake eyes. And the 30-minute money flow still down, though. So I think longing this is relatively risky. It may work out. You got the bullish div there, and then we got the jump up. I feel like this is the point to be taking profits. If you're long, you take profits at that area, or next place would obviously volume area low. If we get above that gets a bit more bullish. Maybe you could continue forward. As long as we stay below this, things are in kind of the bear camp here for Ethereum, especially in Bitcoin is going to kind of give us the same thing. Let's start with some macro analysis here. 3-week want to show you guys, which is interesting here. trigger wave to the downside, not looking too good. And I think it's going to fulfill kind of, if ETH comes down, this will probably hold up better. I don't know if Bitcoin most likely has already bottomed out. I think it's going to do what it's always done, make a higher low, kind of like over here and over here in 2015. I feel like it's going to be different. I mean, every month was different. This one was August. You made the higher low. This one was March for the pandemic. Maybe it'll be a little, if I had to guess, October, November, maybe something like that. Kind of that area. I mean, if you don't count the pandemic, here was December, exactly a year later. If it's like that, it would be November. So I'm thinking a couple months, 2-3 months potentially, into the end of the year, where you make a higher low. The 300 weekly moving average would be around 21, 22 when that hits, which could be a huge place. And if altcoins continue to do what they've been doing against Bitcoin, we're going to see, we'll talk about some altcoins in a second, we're going to see, a lot of them bleed, quite a bit more potentially. A lot of them bleed quite a bit more for a good buying opportunity, come that time. And that's ultimately, what I'm looking at here on the higher time frames. The other thing too, where maybe a good place to start DCAing back into Bitcoin. I stopped as we got into the green here on the weekly, which worked out pretty well so far since we had the drop down. As this comes back into the red, I think probably in early to mid-September is a good place to start DCAing back into Bitcoin. That's where I may as well start DCAing into Ethereum too. The thing I wanted to show you on ETH is the weekly on ETH, potentially when this comes back into red, that could be a good place to start DCAing into ETH, especially if we're down to 1300 by the time you hit that, maybe October or something. That could be the big place. You see our buddy Bitcoin Dominance come up a bit higher too, maybe up to this traffic stop 55%. I think that's going to be the good place to start getting into Ethereum potentially. And if we wanted to look at some lower time frames, just like Ethereum, this looks like it could really come deeper into the red here come October, November, potentially down to the low 20s here for Bitcoin. Daily as well to potentially money flow is to get deeper. 20 hour not looking too good either. Let's go on a chart with some more lines here so we could kind of make more sense of this. And then money flow coming deeper, like I said, on the 12 hour, same thing, a lot like Ethereum. I think the 8 hour was about to give us, 8 hour about to print a red dot to continue down more. 4 hour not looking too good. So right now, I mean, you could get, like I said on Ethereum, you could get some bullish divs, bounce off of this kind of spiral line here potentially. Let's keep it on logarithmic. And we are, it's fighting back a little bit, some snake eyes on the 30-minute. But as long as we stay, this area right here, this kind of area, as long as we stay below that, which the place we're kind of testing right now, let's take a look at this actually. Rejecting from it, as long as we stay below here, things remain more bearish. So it is a wild, interesting market. I mean, that 16-minute bull div that was confirmed here. I mean, it is a risky play. I don't know if I would want to take that. I mean, if you're taking that, you'd probably want to take profits up here at the point of control, the high end of this thing. And then if you zoom out here, this is kind of a bear pennant forming. If you break down from here, technical target a bit lower, around 25K, which is going to be a significant area. A lot of times price could wick down to some good lows, high 24s, stop everybody out trying to long, and then, start to have some relief. I've seen that a lot of times, especially if you get down to kind of this area. I don't have a spiral line at 24.9, but you get what I'm kind of saying here. So that's ultimately what I'm looking at. If you zoom out here, we are kind of hitting that spiral line, but based on how this looks, I mean, we can come up, sure, and anything could happen, but as long as we remain kind of below this area, definitely more bearish. You may get a trigger wave in the 6 minute to bring you down a little bit, potentially like this. Let's take a look at here, this one right here. That would be right to that spiral line. That could be what we see, in a few hours or in an hour even. So that's what we could absolutely see here, short term kind of for Bitcoin right now. I wanted to show you guys total two. This is a whole total crypto market minus Bitcoin. Blood diamond on the 2 week. Nice kind of double rejection from this golden pocket right here. I do think this also could be in somewhat of a Wyckoff accumulation. Your third bottom could be a lower bottom potentially in November or something. I don't know where ETH and Bitcoin would be, if this does play out, but I do think October, November, you're potentially looking for 400 billion potentially. I'm sure you could go lower. I'm not really seeing you go under 300 billion as of right now. I think as we get, deeper into this money flow, maybe negative 33, you're kind of looking at, a potential bottom for this and a good place to be DCing into Ethereum and altcoins. So that's ultimately what I'm looking at right there on total 2. A couple cryptos that are just completely getting demolished. AVAX is going like even lower. We're losing $10. Red X, Yellow X in the 20 hour. There just aren't too many promising things here right now. But on the bright side, if you look at this 2 week, once this money, and this is for a lot of altcoins, once this money flow starts coming up in November, potentially bear div, that could signal a nice place. I mean, maybe even the next one, maybe even if you get a bull div, if you get a bull div here in September, October, and you come down maybe a little bit lower, maybe come down to $8, I kind of not thinking you're coming down to $3. That would be kind of insane. But if you're coming down 95%, maybe right there, $6, $7, $8, that kind of area, that could be, really, really big for this to potentially good place to get in for AVAX. Let's look at Algorand too. I know this is another fan favorite. Getting hit hard. I mean, Yellow X in the weekly, people are just dumping this. I mean, you got to be careful with these. I think there's a time to get into them. I think Algo's got some potential here, but this could go down. A lot of these could potentially go down another 40, 50% from where they are right now. 5 cents, maybe even 4 cents, that kind of area, and that's not unusual for crypto and bear markets. I mean, that would be a total of 4 or 5 cents, 98% down. Cardano went down that much in the last bear market and came all the way back to make new all-time highs. So just be careful with that. I ultimately think potentially the next weekly bull div that you may see in October or something could be a good place to DCA in. I would personally DCA into these, probably until pre-halvening, until March of next year, because that's kind of the way history has worked with the halvening in the 4-year cycle. So that's kind of what I've been looking at right there. Ultimately, that's what's happening right now. We can take a quick look at the NASDAQ, see how that's kind of doing. Nice trend reversal kind of on the 2 week right there. And then Heiken Ashies kind of turning red right there. If you guys want to, I mean, this is coming down. Yeah, I mean, this monthly as well. If you guys want to trade, we're doing a new thing. PHEMEX is doing a new thing with my link down below. If you could get an NFT, Mint their Soul Pass NFT. All you need to do is sign up with my link down below. Do $10,000 worth of trading volume, which is not as hard to get as you think. And then you will be entered. You'll get the NFT. You get a $500 trading bonus, I believe, and you'll be entered to win 10 ETH. They're giving away 100 total, so 10 lucky people will get 10 ETH. I signed up for it, so hopefully we'll get some luck. You have until the drawing will be on the end of the last day of the month, I believe, 8/31, August 31st. So check that out down below. That's another good exchange to use, especially if you don't want to use a VPN or a KYC. FAIRDESK is pretty good. I've been using them for a few years now. FAIRDESK is good as well. Got this nice trade in on FAIRDESK right here, $6,000 realized profit, and hopefully if things play out well, we will go lower. Place I'm keeping my stop loss is right around 26.3, and the reason for that, I don't know if I mentioned it yet, but the reason for that right now, that's a big area because it's an old volume area low. And if you zoom out a little bit here, this is the place that price has respected since we had this dump down. You couldn't break above this. 4 times, could not break above this. If we were able to break above this, get above that area, the 4th time's a charm, or 1, 2, 3, 5th time's a charm here, then things get a bit more bullish. You could break upward, probably higher most likely. But until then, I would keep that kind of as my main stop loss. Got the profits locked in. Trade is doing pretty well. Gonna probably take some more, over here, and then more at kind of if we around that 25K area, which is going to be huge. This wick down is also pretty big. A previous place where price bounced. Usually it bounces at the same places. So keep that in mind right now. Only sign up with these links if you are an experienced trader. We also got another deal with MEXC too. 2 people who sign up with my link and trade will get a $100 trading bonus, I believe. I got to find out more about that. Put the details down below in the description. So check that out if you guys are interested. Check out the Discord. So yeah, guys, I think that's everything. Have a good one. Goodbye.